Are you thinking for yourself or just following the herd? You're sitting in a waiting room. A buzzer sounds, and everyone around you stands up for a few seconds before sitting down again. You have no idea why, but after a few rounds, you start doing it too, without questioning it. This isn't a hypothetical scenario. It's an actual experiment that demonstrated a startling truth. Humans will conform to group behavior, even when it makes no logical sense. We like to believe we are independent thinkers, that our decisions are based on careful reasoning. But research in psychology, sociology, and neuroscience tells a different story. Our brains are wired to follow the crowd, often without us realizing it. The consequences of this instinct go far beyond a simple waiting room test. It affects what we believe, how we vote, what we buy, and even what we are willing to fight for or against. The science of conformity, why you trust the majority even when they're wrong. In a groundbreaking study from the 1950s, psychologist Solomon Asch set up an experiment to test group influence. Participants were shown a series of lines and asked to choose the one that matched a reference line in length. The correct answer was obvious, but here was the twist. Asch had secretly planted actors in the room who, one by one, intentionally chose the wrong answer. The result? Over 75% of the real participants conformed at least once, choosing the obviously incorrect answer, simply because everyone else had. Even more fascinating, later neurological studies using fMRI scans showed that when people conformed, their brains actually altered their perception of reality. They weren't just pretending to go along with the group. They genuinely saw the incorrect answer as correct. This tells us something unsettling. Our desire to fit in can override our ability to see the truth. The viral mind, how ideas spread like diseases. In the 21st century, group influence is no longer just about the people in the room with us, it's about the entire digital world. Social scientists now study how ideas, trends, and beliefs spread like viruses. Much like a biological infection, concepts can go viral when they reach enough people, triggering a cascading effect where everyone adopts a belief simply because it appears popular. This phenomenon is known as informational cascades, when people assume that if enough others believe something, it must be true. A striking real-world example occurred in 1938, when a radio adaptation of The War of the Worlds convinced thousands of listeners that aliens were invading Earth. The panic wasn't caused by the radio show alone. It was fueled by the rapid spread of belief through word of mouth and news reports. Today, the same mechanics apply, but at the speed of the internet. Misinformation spreads faster than ever, and the more people believe something, the harder it is to question, even when it's false. The power of fear, why panic moves faster than logic. Fear has always been one of the strongest drivers of mass behavior. From economic collapses to political revolutions, history shows that fear-based narratives spread faster and influence people more deeply than rational arguments. Psychologists have found that negative emotions activate the amygdala, the brain's fear center, causing people to react impulsively rather than critically. For example, in a study on social media engagement, researchers found that articles containing words like shocking, terrifying, or outrageous were 30% more likely to be shared. This is why political campaigns, media outlets, and even brands often use fear-driven messaging. It works. It grabs attention, it spreads quickly, and makes people act. But here's the real question. If fear can be manufactured and spread intentionally, how many of your beliefs are truly based on reason? And how many were planted in your mind through collective anxiety? The illusion of independent thinking. Why we rarely challenge the group. Even when people suspect the majority might be wrong, most won't speak out. This is known as pluralistic ignorance, a phenomenon where individuals privately disagree with a group but assume they are alone in their thinking. In one chilling historical example, researchers analyzed Nazi Germany and found that many citizens opposed Hitler's rise, but remained silent because they believed everyone else supported him. This created a self-reinforcing illusion of agreement, allowing a minority ideology to gain massive power. The same effect is seen today in corporate environments, classrooms, and online debates. People suppress their real thoughts to avoid standing out. So, if the majority of people around you believe something, ask yourself, do I believe this because I have examined the evidence? Or do I believe this because everyone else does? Breaking free: how to reclaim your own mind. If social pressure is so powerful, is it even possible to think for yourself? The good news is, yes, but it requires effort. Studies show that individuals who develop critical thinking skills and expose themselves to diverse perspectives are far less likely to be manipulated by mass opinion. One effective strategy is the 10-year test. Whenever you hear an idea being widely accepted, ask 1. Would this belief still make sense if I heard it in a different country, culture, or century? Would my future self look back and say, I was thinking clearly, or I was just going along with the trend? Another approach is intentional skepticism, actively seeking out opposing viewpoints and challenging your own beliefs, even if it's uncomfortable. True independent thought is not about rejecting everything society believes. It's about questioning everything before accepting it. Conclusion: are you a thinker or a follower? If your opinions can be shaped by group pressure, viral trends, and fear-based narratives, how much of what you believe is truly yours? The reality is that no one is immune to mass influence. Even the most intelligent minds can be manipulated if they aren't aware of the mechanisms at play. So the next time you feel strongly about an issue, take a step back and ask, did I arrive at this belief through careful thought? Or did it arrive at me through unseen forces I never questioned? The only way to truly own your thoughts is to fight for them. Like, share, and subscribe.